Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Midnight Therapy. I'm your host, Kat Matthews, and Happy New Year. This is 2025. I can't believe we're here. We are a quarter way through the century. It is another year. I want to wish you and your family and your friends and your pets and your grandmas a very happy new year. Let this be an even better year than last and maybe the best year yet. Maybe the best year thus far. All the best for 2025. It is January 1st. It is New Year's Day, 2025. I'm going to give you a very brief recap of my New Year's Eve, which was very nice and a change of pace. A good change of pace. And then we're going to get into the swing of things here post-holiday. You may have noticed, I do have the Grotesque Holiday Portrait Series New Year's Baby up. And the Christmas lights are gone, sadly. It is New Year's Day, so the baby stays, but the Christmas vibe is done. I'm no longer wearing the sweaters. I'm very sad about that. I do love the holidays, and I do love Christmas very much. But alas, it is over, and it's going to take some getting used to. I have to return back to work. My master's classes start up again. It's a lot of, it's a shift. It's a rude awakening now. The fun stuff goes away. Rudolph goes away. And then it's kind of miserable winter up here in Nipa. That's taking, it's a little bit of an adjustment. But we'll get there. Don't you worry. I'd like to recap 2024 briefly. Now, on this show, we cover a lot of different things. If it's Christmas time, we'll be doing Christmas stuff. Depending on the guest, we'll be talking about the guest. If it's just me, I might be ranting about anything, current events and all that. We were on a little hiatus of the current events, sort of the doom and gloom, because most current events are negative, sadly. But now that it is New Year and Christmas is over, we are going to have to get back into the occasional coverage of the current events. Unfortunately, today, there's already negative current events on the first day, within the first couple hours of 2024. There's already some negative things going on. We're going to get into them, sadly. Not until after we recap 2024. So last night, I went over to a small little party, and it was family and friends, and it was very nice. There was food. We had some beverages. We told some stories. We played some games. We played left, right, center. Great game if you don't know it. We watched some football, and then we watched the New Year's Eve coverage, and that was it. Now, opposed to other years, I would be out somewhere, pre-COVID for sure, be out at a dirty, sticky floored bar, all hours of the night, struggling to find a ride home because nobody wants to get a DUI. All these people out, usually single. Nobody in a relationship is going out. They could have their New Year's kiss at home on the couch in PJs eating ice cream, watching a show under a blanket. They don't need to go out and look for it at a seedy bar. So it's mostly single people. They don't really want to be home. They probably would prefer to not be single. So they're looking. It's like a rat race, not fun. Happy that I wasn't doing that this year. And even when, me and Christy were just dating, we still didn't really need to do that either. It was fun. I hosted a New Year's a couple times. Like 3 years ago, I did a big party. I was the host. I was like the karaoke host and DJ host. And I did the ball drop. I gave out the champagne. It was fun, but you don't get home till 3. You're exhausted. Don't recommend it. So we were home. We got home before the ball drop, saw it. Wow. New Year's kiss, right to bed. Great. Couldn't recommend it. 10 out of 10. Very good time. But I can't really do a New Year's Eve recap without making a brief comment on the New Year's Eve coverage, like the New York Times Square event that they had going on. I don't know if any of you watched it. And I don't know if anyone's supposed to watch it. I don't think you're supposed to be watching it. It's supposed to be on in the background as you eat pickle dip and talk to friends and get, maybe intoxicated. That's supposed to be on in the background until the ball drops. Then you watch. But I caught it a couple times. I looked up and I was like, what is this? I was like, who are these people? Like the entertainers that they had doing the entertainment. They were like random. I can't put it. How do I put it? They were like background characters made up, like AI generated characters. I can't even tell you one of their names. Never heard of them before. But they were like in these weird outfits doing these weird dances to a weird song. And then everyone in the audience has these big Dr. Seuss looking Planet Fitness hats. And they're all cheering and screaming. And I'm like, what? What is this? And I guess these people had like a popular song that was used in TikToks. Like that was the lineup this year. This person had a song go viral on TikTok that people use. They use the song in the background of videos of them cleaning their house and packing a lunch for their kids. This song plays in the background. Oh, that's the song from the TikTok. That's what people say at home. They go, that's the TikTok song. I know that song. That's who sings it. I was very confused. Ryan Seacrest, he's like a vampire. He hosted it. He does like 500 gigs. He'll be up. He does the New Year's Eve, gets a plane, and then he's doing a 5 a.m. gig somewhere else. He doesn't sleep, just earns billions and puts it away and never stops doing gigs. He does that forever. You'll never see him miss American Idol or Good Morning America or whatever he does. He's always doing something. We'll give him credit. That's good. But yeah, that was really it. I was a little like, what's going on here? This seems, like a simulation. Who are these people? It was like, here's Brass Bell with their new song, Can of Soda. And everyone's like, yeah. And the song is like, you're like, what? They're dancing, wearing suits, like weird costumes. Then they switched over to like someone exactly like that, but someone somehow different. I don't know. That's my take on it. Let's look back on 2024. A lot of things happened. It was kind of a crazy year. I think the biggest one, like no opinions here, whether you like it or not, whatever side of the aisle you fall on, Trump winning was pretty historic. So if you were alive during this time and you look back at 2024, you're probably going to think of the year Donald Trump won again against all odds, including an assassination attempt, technically two, and still winning. This was the end of Joe Biden's political career, probably. Who knows? Definitely his time as the president was ended in 2024. It's like one of the first times we saw a president, avoid a primary, intend on running for another term, and then dropping out in the final hour. That's pretty historic. So the rise and fall of Kamala Harris's popularity. Politically, this was crazy. And you saw Joe Rogan change the political landscape of America. You saw podcasts completely take over mainstream media. Donald Trump went on Joe Rogan, and it probably had a lot to do with his victory. So that's pretty cool. If you are a Taylor Swift fan or a Swiftie, it was the end of her Eras tour, which was like 2 years. 2 years straight. Made billions off that tour. That's pretty cool. You saw the rise of Ozempic this year and these weight loss drugs. Who knows if there's any side effects to them? A lot of people taking them, though. A lot of people taking them. Lizzo is taking them and is looking very different. You saw the fall of Lizzo. Now, I'm just reporting here. I'm just a reporter. I didn't make this up. But her career went downhill after her backup dancers reported that she was slightly rude and maybe inappropriate and maybe kind of a bully. This is all speculative. This is up to you to decide, but I guess she took her backup dancers, which were also, bigger women. Lizzo's a bigger woman. Well, she was a bigger woman. Her backup dancers were also bigger. She took them to a club where there are bigger women dancing, I guess, like a strip club, plus size strip club. And she made them like do terrible things there, allegedly. Not going to get into it, but she like forced them or put a lot of peer pressure on them to eat a banana that was somewhere in the club, that was put somewhere. You could look the story up on your own, but that was the downfall of Lizzo. What a weird downfall. Speaking of like strippers, the entertainment last night at the New Year's Eve, they were it looked like strippers at some time. Like you would look up and it would be like strippers. I wish I was kidding. If you watched it, you know what I'm saying. Like you would turn your head, look at the TV, and it would be like a strip show. Like it was very odd. That's supposed to be like a family show. I don't know. What do I know? Anyways, we wish you well, Lizzo. Hope she turns it around. To get away from entertainment, you had some major global conflicts going on. This year you had, of course, the tensions getting a little crazier in the Middle East. A little bit of conflict over there with Israel and the Palestine and the Russia and the Ukraine and the China and the Taiwan and now the Syria and maybe a little Iran. Like all that's boiling up. Not good. Comedy returned to go back to entertainment. I forgot that. Comedy kind of returned to the US. You have this whole new, I don't know, dark web branch of comedy that's actually telling jokes and not afraid to be canceled. You had the roast of Tom Brady. You had the tragic rise of Tony Hinchcliffe and then the fall immediately after. Hinchcliffe did awesome on the Tom Brady roast because that was the place for that. You're supposed to roast people in a terribly inappropriate, funny way at a place that's intended for that. That's, do that at a place where you'll get praised for doing said thing, not at a presidential rally, So I don't know. Hope Tony Hinchcliffe turns it around. I don't know. You got to know, right place, right time, Got to know when to tell jokes, but comedy's kind of back. It's a good special I saw on Netflix. It's like Roasting 2024 or something like that. It was pretty funny. Tim Dillon was in it. He might have canceled himself a little, but you can't really cancel him. He played the healthcare CEO that was tragically murdered, allegedly by Luigi Mangione. He played like the ghost of him. Pretty funny. In a comedic sort of way. Not really funny in a literal event way. Like to that man's family, it's probably not funny. Maybe a little too soon. But again, not me. I'm just a reporter. So yeah, comedy kind of came back. That's pretty much 2024 in a nutshell. The Mike Tyson scam fight, you might remember that. One of the best scams ever. Give Jake or Logan Paul or whoever came up with that scam, the Paul brothers, give them credit. It's a good scam. Don't be upset. We got scammed. What are you going to do? We got scammed, whatever. Don't let it happen again. The end of 2024 got a little weird with these drones. The drones got weird. AI advanced a lot this year. It's going to keep advancing every minute, every millisecond. We're going to get into that later, too. That might be problematic or a little more problematic than we may have thought. Yeah, the drones are coming in and out of the water now. It's getting real weird. Can't even get it. There's too much to even cover. I can't even get into all of it. And tragically, I have to bring this up. Right now, you have the terrible terrorist attack, rather, in New Orleans that happened early this morning. This man decided to drive a truck through a bunch of people celebrating the New Year. And then he opened fire on police officers. It is just madness. We're learning more about that still. We don't know. Allegedly, this guy had an ISIS flag in his truck, or he flew it on his truck. This is just not good for many reasons. Very sorry. Send all the condolences to the families of people that were lost to that attack. This is very parallel to another attack you may have heard that happened in Germany about, I don't know, a little bit before Christmas, where someone drove a vehicle through a bunch of people at a Christmas market in Germany. I don't know if these are connected at all, but one could infer that they might be. See, this is another reason why the news is becoming outdated. Maybe we're all sick of it. Like we're seeing it on the news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like you turn on the TV, you can't not see the New Orleans attack. And I know you have to report on it and people want updates, but you may be giving people ideas, especially if you kind of glorify murder and vigilantism. We need to just say that that's 100% wrong and tragic. The only reason I bring this up is with the Luigi Mangione case, we didn't really say this is bad. Well, not we. I'm saying the news, the media, the mainstream media didn't really say this is bad no matter what. They kind of tiptoed around it and said, well, it's bad, but this guy might have deserved it. Huh? Says who? That's why we have systems at place to avoid vigilantism. The court system, law enforcement, judges, lawyers, things like that. So be careful, mainstream media, that you don't inadvertently or accidentally give other psycho people ideas by saying it's okay sometimes if it's for the right reason. Because it's a slippery slope, and that's all I have to say. Rest in peace to all the people that passed early this morning in that New Orleans attack. It is tragic and a terrible way to start the new year. Hopefully 2025 brings immensely more joy than it does suffering. Let's leave on that note. The U.S. is involved in these proxy wars, as I mentioned. What's going to happen from there? That's the question. That's the only thing I could see really going south for 2025 if we continue on this path forward. Now, I'm worried that maybe people are getting the wrong idea. Maybe if this guy, like I said, he may have had an ISIS flag associated to him. This is what I'm hearing from reports. I don't know if it's true. Don't go by me. Remember, I am not a licensed therapist. But if this is an ISIS thing, maybe it's a retaliation thing. And maybe people are getting the idea that the U.S. is wrong because we are sending billions of dollars into these proxy wars. And I think these people know where the money and the equipment and the bombs are coming from, That's all I'm saying. People know. It's just not good. We need to do all we could to end war. And I know that sounds so peace, love, and happiness and hippie of me, but it's very possible in 2025 with the resources we have. There should not be war going on a planet that has satellites and cell phones and the internet. I'm telling you, there's not a thing you can't fix today. You could bring countries economic prosperity with a couple cell phones and some Wi-Fi. I'm telling you, no one needs to be starving. No one needs to be homeless. No one needs to be jobless today. No one needs to be at war today. In the past, sure, I get it. But how much do we have to evolve to the point of where war is still necessary? Like, is there ever an end? Will we be fighting Star Wars like the movie? Like, even when you have lightsabers and giant ships and light speed, there's still going to be war? That's grim. I don't want to believe that. And I won't. But America does have a military-industrial complex that does fuel this sort of thing. So, reason I bring it up is don't be surprised if we enter some sort of major conflict into, as a supposed retaliation of something, of us taking revenge on something that happens. Sort of like the 9/11 thing. 9/11, of course, terrible attack, but it got everybody on board with us entering the Middle East for, I don't know, 25 years. How much money, how many people we lost, and I don't know. It's up to you to decide what that was for. But don't be surprised if that happens again. I heard these credible theories. I'm going to throw them out there one more time. I talked with Mike the Barber, shout out, about these on a previous episode. There may be a potential threat already here in this country. Someone told me there's many potential threats that the United States government is aware of, and that's kind of an explanation for these drones that they are surveying, not for video footage because it's at night. These drones are at night, but rather checking for radiation. As in, I don't know. You can be the decider of what that might mean, but they're looking for something sort of in the Northeast area, Jersey area, possibly a potential threat. Who knows? The drones are definitely ours, though. I think that's pretty clear. And they continue to insult the United States citizens' intelligence by telling them that we don't know what they are. And then the media, mainstream media, pushing that they might be aliens, get everybody all riled up. Distract. All I'm saying, our government may know of something. Maybe they're surveying for it. Maybe they're trying to find it. Maybe they're trying to stop it. Who knows? Who knows? But there will be a transfer of power soon. The biggest regime change, probably of all time, in our country, coming up this month, this year, very soon. It's going to get weird. It's weird to think that Joe Biden is still the president right now, and all this is going on, and I haven't even seen him in a very long time. I hope he's doing well, but I haven't seen him in a long time. The inauguration is coming up. Who knows what's going to happen? Not as serious and a little weirder. There's also other weird stuff going on today. Shout out to Mike the Barber for informing me on this. Lightning is striking things like major buildings and monuments and stuff. I don't know. Lightning struck the Washington Monument. It struck the Capitol Building, the Empire State Building. That's a little weird, all on the same day. Kind of weird. Especially if you're like me and you may or may not believe that ancient Egypt was a power plant, essentially. The pyramids, the obelisks were power generators. They generated electricity. Not saying I believe this. I may or may not believe it or want it to be true. Who knows? But maybe the pyramids, with the gold caps were conducting electricity. And maybe those obelisks were sort of like, power lines, virtual transmitters of electricity. I don't know. That's another episode. That's another 3-hour episode, but you can look that up on your own. You can watch Ancient Aliens on your own, but weird that the obelisk, the Egyptian styled obelisk that is the Washington Monument, was struck by lightning. Interesting. I don't know. Maybe the aliens are here. Who knows? A lot of weird things that we will be getting into now that we're back on the current events train. But I will say 2025 off to a crazy start already. I saw on the news today there was like a explosion outside of Trump Tower, and it was like a Cybertruck on fire. Is anyone keeping up with this, or is it just me? I can't even begin to keep up with it, but that happened today. Who knows? Some are saying that's a message. Somebody sent a message to Trump and Elon Musk. Trump Tower, Elon Musk's truck, having it, explode right in front of the doors of Trump Tower. Maybe that is a message of some sort. And what would the message be? I don't know, but it seems negative. Seems like a negative message. Ominous. Perhaps a little threatening. Who knows? I don't know. I am just a cowboy in the basement. But there is some tensions going on in the Trump cabinet, I will say. And I don't know if you are aware, but I will try to inform you the best I could because this is midnight therapy after all. There's a thing called an H-1B visa. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. But it's essentially a visa, temporary visa for immigrants to come over to the U.S. if they meet certain credentials, usually intellectual credentials. So education, they need to have a certain bachelor's degree, usually in a certain field, usually STEM, and they can come over here and work. And it's like a lottery system. There's some corruption to it, that it's like not just the best people, but it's a lottery, and companies in America and elsewhere, but we're focusing on America because we're in America. Certain companies bid and apply for these visas, and some get them and some don't, and blah, blah, blah. But there is a big, sort of butting of the heads in the Trump campaign, because you had Trump and his classic messaging saying America first. Certain immigrants are taking American jobs. We want Americans to have these jobs. And then you have a big part of his cabinet, which is Elon Musk, tech industry, and Vivek Ramaswamy, tech industry, coming out with these statements very recently saying that we need more of those visas because there aren't qualified Americans to do the jobs that we need done, specifically in the tech industry and the engineering industry. And they both openly came out and said that. And that kind of goes against the Trump, I don't know, original message, where it's like, we're going to build America back from the inside. Americans are going to go back to work, and they're going to have these honorable, well-paying jobs that are high skilled. And I think that is going to be sort of an issue. Now, is what Vivek and Elon saying true? Possibly. There may be a shortage of, skilled and qualified employees to do these jobs that are American. That might be true. And that's a whole nother issue. Maybe that's why our, test scores of schools are so low. And maybe the acceptance rate of our colleges we accept everybody. Maybe it's easy to get into schools here. Maybe it's easy to glide through. Maybe people aren't qualified. Maybe people are doing other jobs like being an influencer, or door dashing or whatever. And they're not really going for engineering and math. That could be very true. And maybe other countries they are. Maybe they are smarter than Americans. You hear the argument Elon made, wouldn't you want, if it was like a football team, you'd want the best of the best. It wouldn't be the best of the best that's only Americans. It would be the whole world. You'd want the whole world as options for having the best of the best. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. I don't know really how I feel about that, but I don't like the idea of people saying that Americans are just too stupid, that they're unable. We don't have anyone able to do it. I think we do. I think we just need to reform certain things. We need to reform how education works, and how we, how much we charge, and how the loans work, and things like that. I wouldn't just say that American people are just too dumb and don't want to do it. That's not true. Well, I hope not. Maybe to some, but not all. You can't generalize these things. But I do predict Trump and his cabinet having their hands full, and maybe even butting heads very shortly after the inauguration. So there's a little prediction there. Keep your eyes on that one. The H-1B visas, you can look into that further if you wish. And you can make your own decision on that. But those are the things I think you should be thinking about looking forward. Keep your eye on the military-industrial complex. Keep your eye on the media. Keep your eye on these attacks. Keep your eye on the drones. Keep your eyes on the Musk-Vivek-Trump dynamic in the new, campaign. And that's pretty much it for the, current events and the government, politics, and things like that. As for optimism, I think even though these bad things have happened, and bad things will always happen, and there's always something to worry about, you don't have to worry about it. It's your choice to worry about it. You walk through life, every step you take is one step closer to the end. You decide whether you walk through worried, happy, scared, joyful. How you walk through life is up to you. You choose what you focus on. Remember, losers focus on winners and winners focus on winning, and you may apply that any way you wish. Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. These are the optimistic or realistic, vibes I want to carry into 2025. Life has always been corrupt. The government's always been corrupt. And you don't need me or anyone else to tell you that. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. You know this. That's the big picture, the big club that we ain't in. What you and I and everyone else could do is find our little world, create our little world, and take care of it like a garden and grow it. You have your little garden. That's it. It's a big planet, but little garden, that's yours. That's what you should be worried about. Now, I might come out next week and say, oh, this happened. Look at this. Terrible. It's always going to be that way. I do it so that you can hear it from my lens. Maybe you trust me. Maybe you find it entertainment. When I do cover current events, I do it so that you're hearing it in a way that's a personalized take from my personality. But you don't need to be worried about it. There's no use of worrying, ever. So hopefully that is slightly comforting as you enter 2025. I hope you made great memories last night, and I hope you continue to do so this year. Let this be your year. Let it be a year of peace of mind, forgiveness. Maybe you find yourself a little. Maybe you find happiness and contentment. Maybe. I hope all those things for you. I really do. As for the viewers of the show, thank you for watching. As always, I'm going to be back and better than ever this year. We have a lot in store. I have some more guests coming on. I'm going to be getting back to the, normal spiel and rant and political and current event recap. We're going to do that, but we're going to keep it nice and light and fun on this show. I'm telling you. You never know what's going to happen. I could be at Walmart and something fun happens. And I go, well, that's what we're going to talk about on the podcast this week. You never know what you're going to get on Midnight Therapy with your host, Kat Matthews. Everyone, please have a great 2025. Welcome to 2025. This is New Year's Day. I'm Kat Matthews. This is Midnight Therapy. Stay curious, my friends. Good night.